Okay. Yeah, it's not urgent. You can show us later.
Okay, I think we already waited a lot, so let's just start the class. So we'll go to the
Deepika.
Hey
Yeah,
Raj.
she hides some work. She hides some work. She's gonna join like next week onwards, but she just want to have a recorded session.
Okay.
Yeah, she had a dance or some dance program today.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
So where were we yesterday? Lightning. Did you guys remember the URL that we used? Let me just go back here. Okay. So let's say you added a record here, or if you go to the positions, and let's
Okay.
say you have a particular record. I'm going to mute everyone, so I don't want any disturbance. You can always text me. So let's say you created a record and you saved it. There will be a delete button right away if you want to delete it. So you can delete that particular record. Or let's say if you are talking about an existing record, let's say we go to an accounts and there is a record in the accounts, let's say Bank of America, and if you want to delete it, you can just go ahead and hit the delete button, and it'll delete that particular record. Is that what your question was? Okay. Anyone has any questions from the last class? Okay, so I'll proceed. So yesterday we did positions. We created a position object, okay, and then we've added a couple of fields, and I gave you an assignment how to add those fields here on that position object. The fields that I mentioned will be the simpler one, but there's a little bit of there are fields which are little like Picklist. Okay, Picklist is, let's say I wanted to know in the position, if let's say what is the status of the position. Okay, there is a field in the position object or in the position table, and we call it as status. And the position can be in one of these statuses. It can be open status. It can be closed status. It can be pending approval, because see, if every time you want to open a position, it needs to get approved. The budget needs to get approved, right? So we can say pending approval. We can say closed, cancelled, or some reason this position got cancelled. That's why a closed, filled. These might be different status, right? Or in the real time scenarios also, let's say you are working with a brokerage firm, okay, and in that brokerage firm, they have different kinds of accounts. They have accounts with the rental companies, basically for the renting apartments and renting buildings. Then you have leasing accounts where you basically lease stuff. So you can have a pick list saying type of account, and then there will be a drop down saying what kind of account it is, right? So based on what it is, you can have a selection. But the thing with the pick list is there are two types of pick list. One is a single select, the other one is a multi-select. Okay, single select means only one item from the pick list can be selected. The multi-select means you can have multiple items get selected from that pick list. So that is what we have as a multi-select pick list. So multi-select pick list is basically, let's say yesterday we talked about that what courses you are interested to take. Okay, and there might be a big drop down, and you can select as many number of courses you want. So that is a multi-select. In a single select, you can only select one item at a time. So let's go ahead and let's see how to create a single select pick list, and then we'll see how to create a multi-select and see what is the difference. So let's go back to our Salesforce account. So where will I go first? Now this way, last time I showed you to add a field using, you go back here, there are different ways, there are different ways that you can add fields, okay, different shortcuts. So this is one of the shortcuts. You click on this quick access menu and then you can create a new field, okay. Similarly, you can also create a field by going to this particular object. So you go to the positions, okay, you go to the position object here, and then in this position object you look for, you go to the setup, you go to the setup, and on the left hand side you enter objects, okay. You go to the objects here, and then it will provide you list of the objects that you have created, okay. So we'll click on this list of objects. Another way that you can add a field is, see, you can see that this is the information about the whole object, okay. This is what is the label, what is the object name, API name. Then there are a bunch of standard fields. The standard fields are the one which they've already added, okay. And then we have something called as the custom fields that you wanted to add. So let's go ahead and see how to add this custom field here. So let's say we go up here and we say new, okay. That's it. You can create. Now this is a second way of adding a field. I'll repeat one more time. You go to the setup, you look for a particular object, you click on that particular object which you wanted to add, okay. And then from there, if you wanted to add a field, right? So you go ahead and click on new in this custom field and relationships. You go ahead and click on this, and then in this one you can select what kind of, first thing will be what is the data type that you will pick. So there is a data type called as Picklist, and the definition of the Picklist says allows the user to select a value from a list you define. So we will define that list, and from that list the users will be able to pick a value. And there is another Picklist called a multi-select, which is basically allow you to select multiple items from the list you have defined, okay. So for the timing, we wanted the pick list to be single select, only one, because the position can be in one status, right? You don't want position to be open and closed both. It is going to be in one status. The label of the position, you can call it a status. And then you wanted to, there is the global definition pick list is one which is generic, okay, but you don't want that. You want the values to be, you wanted to put the values for it, okay. So how you can define the values? Let's say the different statuses my position can be is the first is new position, pending approval, then this is open approved, then you have is closed filled, and then next one you have is, let's say these are the different statuses, okay, not approved, and then you have, let's say, closed cancelled. So you define the label, and you said I wanted to enter the values for my pick list, and these are the different values it will be there, and then you can go ahead and hit the next button. You don't have to use a comma, okay. There might be a question on Salesforce admin that the pick list values will be defined with a comma or not. So you remember that you don't need to put a comma, okay. Go ahead and available it for all the profiles, then hit the next button, and then you go ahead and hit the save, okay. So now what will happen? The custom validation error code. Did somebody use this one? Okay, so it got added. Did somebody added it or I did it twice? Did anyone use this profile? Or maybe I have just hit the save button twice. That might be another reason. So now you can see that this is the drop down list, and you can only select one item at a time. So this is called as the pick list here. Similarly, you can also create a pick list for You can create a pick list for, let's say, what is the type of the position? Is it a full-time position? Is it a part-time position and all that? That you have it in the assignment, so you can go through it. Okay, so this is how to create a pick list. The next one we have is, let's say, dependent pick list. Okay, what is a dependent pick list? So in the dependent pick list, let's say, guys, you have things like, most of the time you've seen things like, okay, which country are you from? Okay, and then there will be a drop down saying India, US, UK, Australia, Canada, etc. Okay, and then if you selected India, then the next would be like a state, and then it will show you the states of India. Okay, so then if you selected US, then it will show you the states of US. So that is called as the dependent pick list. So basically in the dependent pick list, you have a field which is a dependent, which is this one, and then on which this is dependent? This is dependent on the country. So this field becomes the controlling field. Okay, this becomes the controlling field. So let's say there is a scenario where you have the same scenario where the form says what country are you from, then you pick one country, and then the next line in the form is, okay, pick the state, and dependent upon which country you have picked up, you wanted to show only the states of that country, right? If you have picked up India, then you don't want to display UK and US states, you only wanted to show the Indian states. So here this is called an example of a dependent pick list. There is a pick list which is dependent on the other pick list. So this becomes a controlling field and this becomes a dependent field. Okay, that is called as a dependent pick list. So these are something also called as field dependencies. These are called as the field dependencies because the field is dependent on the other one. So let's first of all, what we will do, we will create a field, we will create a pick list, okay, and that will call as a functional area. The name of the pick list will be functional area. Let's say this is the name of the pick list called functional area. And let's say this is also a pick list. And see, the position can belong to HR department. Position can belong to IT department. Position can belong to miscellaneous, let's say. Position can belong to retail operations or warehousing, whatever. These are different because these are the different departments in a company, right? HR, IT, miscellaneous, retail operations or warehousing, etc. Okay, and then depending upon if this is the user has selected HR, then there are different positions. Okay, there are different levels. Okay, there is a level called HR01, there is a level called HR02, there is a level called HR03, and then there is a level called HR04. Okay, so these are the different levels that we have: HR1, HR2, HR3, HR4. Similarly, if the user has selected IT, let's say the different job levels are IT 100, IT 200, IT 300, IT 400. Okay, so these are the different levels. So this becomes, so this functional area becomes the controlling field, and there is a pick list called job level that becomes the dependent pick list, which is dependent upon this controlling. So let's go ahead and first create these individual pick lists. Okay, we'll first create these individual pick lists. To go back to our here. So what is the other way here? You go back to the setup and you look for a particular object. If you wanted to add a field, you go to the object, you click on that object, and you hit that particular object for which you wanted to add the field, and then you scroll down, and then here you hit the new button. Now the pick list that I want to add is, let's say, it's a single select. Okay, so we'll go ahead and select the pick list, this pick list from here, and then hit the next button. And in here you can go ahead and define the name of the custom field. You can call it as functional area. So this is the name of the field. Now what are the values you wanted to provide? You can provide it here. You can say finance. It can be human resources. It can belong to information technology. Retail operations. Or you can say warehousing. And then you have miscellaneous. Okay, so now this is the next one. Now, do you want it to, so instead of, see, remember the last time the first pick list was none. So do you want that, or you wanted to make by default the finance as the default value? So you can do that by clicking on this checkbox, okay? And then go ahead and hit the next button. So make it visible to all, next. And then hit the save button. So now you have added another pick list, which is called functional area. So if you go back to the new here, you will see functional area, and then these are the different drop downs. And by default, finance is the one that gets selected. Okay, by default, finance is the one that gets selected. Okay, because you've clicked on that checkbox. Now here, let's say this is my controlling field that I've created. Now let's go ahead and let's create another field, which is basically if the user has selected finance, it will show you the job levels related to finance. If the user has selected human resources, it will show you the job levels related to human resources. So we will go ahead and add a new field here, and that will also be a pick list. Okay, and then we will name it as job level. So we'll go ahead and hit the new button, and then we will define it as job level. Okay, now what are the values for this pick list? Let me go ahead and define those values here. So we have, for finance, we have FN 100, FN 200, FN 300, FN 400. Okay, so this is my finance ones. Okay, then I'll go ahead and change the same one. Then this also becomes HR. So these are related to the human resources. And let's say you have information technology also. So this is IT. And then you have retail operations. So we'll go ahead and say RO. And then you have warehousing. So then this is the warehousing codes would be this one. Okay, this is the warehousing. And then the last one that we have created was miscellaneous. So we'll go ahead and add that one also. So that will be MC100, MC200. Okay. So now this is the next pick list. So let's go ahead and hit the next button and then make it visible to all the profiles, and hit the next button. And then we will go ahead and hit the save button. So in this case, if you go to the positions, now there is a new field got added called as job level, and these are the different codes. Okay, but we don't want that, because if the user has selected finance, I don't want these codes. I only want the finance codes, right? We don't want this to happen. If the user has selected HR, it will show you only, I want him to show only these 4 records. Right, only these 4 levels. Then why does it not work? Because we have not added that dependency. Okay, to add that dependency, we'll go to this one. You can go to any way. Either you can go to the setup and look for the object, or you can just say view the object. And here there is a field called field dependencies. Okay, now this page allows you to define dependencies between the fields. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and hit the new button here. And now, guys, a question comes from this. Okay, create a dependent relation. Create a dependent relation that causes the values in the pick list or multi-select pick list to be dynamically filtered based on the value selected by the user in the another field. So basically, if the user has selected something in the controlling field, the dependent field will show the values related to that. The field that drives the filtering is the controlling field. Okay. The standard and custom checkbox and pick list with at least 1 and less than 300 values can be controlling fields. So the question they'll ask you will be here, that what can be a controlling field? So you have to select the custom checkboxes and Picklist with at least 1 and less than 300 values can be a controlling field. So you can have up to 300 values. The field that it has filtered means this one becomes the dependent one. And custom Picklist and multi-select Picklist can be dependent fields. So you cannot have anything besides a Picklist on a dependent field. Okay. If I'm trying to create a checkbox, no, you cannot have a checkbox as a dependent field. Okay. You can only have a Picklist, or a multi-select Picklist means you can select more than one item, can be a dependent field, but you cannot have any other field as a dependent field. Because if you go up here, see, that only displays the Picklist. No, it does not display the maximum pay or minimum pay, because it only allows you to choose a Picklist. Here, in this case, it will also give you, because we have not have any other, so it will say you can pick up what is your controlling field here. So the controlling field is functional area. And what is the dependent field here? Job level. So my functional area can be human resources, can be retail, can be IT, can be any of these. And my dependent field is dependent on the functional area values. So that, what is the name of my field? That is the job level that I just created. Okay, so hit the continue button. Now once you're done with this, now it tells you what you can do. So whatever, let's say if the user has selected finance, I'm going to say these are the 4 values that I want to select. Okay, so just go ahead and hit the shift and select those 4 values and click on include. So for finance, these are the values I want to display. Are you getting, guys? For if the user has selected human resources, these are the 4 values that I wanted to go ahead and select. So these are the 4, and hit the include values button. Information technology, these are the 4 values I wanted to go ahead and select. For retail operation, these are the 4 values I want to include. For warehousing, these are the 4 values I want to increase. If there is an extra one, I think, so go to the, let me go ahead and hit the include button here. And then there's the next. Okay, for miscellaneous, these are the 4 values. Go ahead and hit the include. So now those becomes highlighted. If you wanted to take a preview, this is going to be a preview, short preview, which will say, okay, if the user has selected finance, only finance positions are displaying. If the user has selected human resources are displaying. So this is called as the dependent fields. Okay, one is dependent on the other field. If you selected the retail, these are the 4, warehousing, these are the 4, and then we have the next one, which is miscellaneous, and these are the 4. Okay. Now here, go ahead and hit the save button. So now you have added your dependent Picklist. So we go back to the position here, and now if you hit the new button, this is what the, if you selected finance, it will show you the finance positions. If you select the human resources, it will only show you the human resources positions. Are you guys following?
Yes.
Yes.
Got it, everyone? Okay. Then guys, see, I'm not covering each of those because you can, because in the assignment there will be a lot of other fields that you need to add. Okay, and those are easy ones. I'm just picking up the ones which are a little different. Okay, so next thing, guys, we have is, let's say I wanted to calculate the formula. These are called as the, next thing we have is called as the formula fields. Okay, now what do you mean by formula fields? Okay, next thing we have is formula fields. What do you mean by the formula fields? So let's say if I asked you to calculate days opened, how will you calculate days opened? How will you calculate days opened? But before that, let me go ahead. Let me add a new field here called close date. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me add a new field, new here, and then, and in the meantime, you figure out, if I asked you how many days this position has been opened, so how will you calculate? Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and ask a date here. Hit the next button. Close date. Next. Visible to all, next. and hit the save button. Okay, so now if I go back to the positions, I have a close date here and I have open date. Okay, so now tell me guys, if I ask you, okay, now let's say we fill up a position here. Okay, we create a position called Salesforce admin 1 position we are creating. The minimum pay for the position is 85. The maximum pay is, let's say, 125. And the open date for the position is 25. Okay, the status is new and job level is finance. Job level is, let's say, FN, and I hit the save. So now tell me how many days this position has been opened. Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. How many days this position has been opened?
18 days
How did you calculate that?
from today's date.
Very good. What about others? What will be the open date for the position? How many days this position has been open? She might be wrong. Do you agree with her?
Because there is no close date, so I think it's open.
Yeah, so how many days this position has been opened?
Till today, yeah, 18 days, I guess.
So you calculated by same as her, today minus the open date, right? So this is a formula. This is a formula. So what is this formula is? Your formula is, let's say if I want to calculate the open date for a particular position, I will calculate by today minus the open date. Okay. So if the user is, if let's say I added a field, this is called as formula field, because see here in the formula field, you're not, this is today's, which is like a function which is available in Salesforce, and you just need to use that function, okay, which will give you current date. And then whatever the value is in there is in the open date, that will be today minus open date will give you the how many days this position has been opened, right? This will give you the days open, which will tell you that, okay, this position has been opened from today minus open date. So let's say if I go back here, and if I go to my Salesforce and let's say I go back and edit this position, and now I change it back to 1st of May, then this position has been open for about, let's say, 22 days, right? 22 minus 1, so it will be approximately 21 days, right? Because today's date is 5/22 and this position is open on 5/1. So it's been approximately, today's 22 minus 1, so that's going to be 21. So I wanted to have a field which gives me this value, days open. I wanted to know how long this position has been open. So how will I add? I'll go ahead and add a new field here. And in this is the, you go back, you scroll down here, and this is called as a formula field here. So there is a place called formula. Okay. A read-only field. This is a read-only field. This is very important. Read-only field means, see, it does not require you to enter a value, right? It is automatically going to calculate in the backside, because it needs an open date. You're providing the open date. Today date, he knows how to calculate, and automatically it will give you a days open. So this is a read-only field. Okay. It does not need an input from the user. So there might be a question saying which of these are a read-only fields. Okay, so then you can select, okay, field formula is a kind of a read-only field. A read-only field that derives its value from a formula, and which we are going to create, and the whenever you update, so whenever you change the open date, the days open will get updated. Whenever you change the days open date, the days open will get automatically updated. It's not like just one time that you have added and save the record, it will not run it again. No, as long as you're changing the open date, it will keep changing. Okay. So let's go ahead and create that field. So the data type that we selected is a formula. It's a formula expression. Hit the next button here, and then we will define it saying days open. This is the name of my field called days open. Okay, now what is the next? It ask you what is the return type. So what will be the return type, guys? If I how many days, so what is the return type of that today minus the open date? What will be the return type? Will it be a checkbox? Will it be a number? Will it be a currency? Will it be a date, percent? What? Can you tell me what will be the return?
Number?
What about others?
Number?
What about Madhu? Madhu, what do you think? What will be this?
It's a number.
It's a number. Very good. It's going to be a number because it will be 21 days or 22 days or whatever. Okay. Do you want any decimal places? No, I don't want any decimal. Just hit stick to 0 and then hit the next button. See, the example also gives you, if you have put 1, it will be 99.90. If you have 2, then it will be 2 digits after the decimal. So if we don't want any decimal digits, hit the next button. Now here, this is the place. This is the place where we will write a formula. So there are two parts, simple formula and advanced. We'll just go to the advanced one because whatever the simple can do, advanced can do it automatically. Okay, guys, mute yourself. So now in this, in the right hand side, these are the different categories of the functions that Salesforce has already given to you. Salesforce wants you to do minimum effort. It has done most of the things for you. Okay, so he knows that you might need today's date. So he has already created a function where you can see how to get the today's date. So in the function category, these are the 4 different categories. Logical will have all the and, if, or, etc. Then you don't have to remember all these functions. Might need a couple of those, like what is ceiling, blank value, etc. We will do some of those as we proceed. Then we have is the text here. If you wanted to know, if you want to convert a link to an hyperlink, you have to add an image and all those, so you can use this. Or you can, for us, we just need a date and time. So there is a function which calculates today's. This is the function. Okay, today's returns the current date. If you want to know what this particular thing does, once you click on that, it will give you the whole definition here that returns the distance between 2 locations using the provided unit. So if you are doing it in miles, it will do it in miles. If you're doing it in kilometers or whatever, so it will do it in that. Okay, so we needed a see, this is more of like an admin, okay? Because this does not read any coding. Okay, so this is the work of an admin, because anything that has to deal with the out of the box features, like using the point and click, then that's a work of an admin. Admin will more of, what is the role of an admin will be, he will be more customer facing. Okay, he will be the one who will be talk to the business, get the requirements, okay, and kind of putting into a, he's more of like a business analyst as well as an admin job. Okay, the developer is not customer facing. They get a requirement, they try to do it through the code. Okay, so that's what the role of it admin would be. So now here, if you go back, I want to calculate the today's date. So you'll go up here, you select this function, and then you say insert. So it will automatically give you today. So this function will give you today's date. Now you wanted to subtract this with the open date. So where is the open date present? Open date is present on the position object. So if you want that, so you can go ahead and click on insert field. So there is an insert field here. Click on that, and this is the object that you have created, and these are all the fields related to the object. These ones that you see, profile, system, user, excuse me, these are the ones, the standard objects. This is the custom object that you have created. Now which field we need from here? We need open date. So just go ahead and select the open date and hit the insert button. See, you see minus C because this is a custom field here. Okay, that's why you see minus C here. Okay, so this is the today minus the open date __ C. Now what we need to subtract, right? We need to subtract. So there is a operator available called subtract. Just go ahead and put the subtract operator in between. So this particular is the formula. Okay, this is a read only. This automatically will be calculated once you save the record, and it will display you the value here. You have to check the syntax, means if something is wrong, it will let you know right away that okay, there is no syntax error, so we can proceed. Go ahead and hit the next button. And then visible to all, next, and save. So now there is, if you go back to the position, You hit the new button, you're not seeing the days open. Why? Because days open does not need an input from the user. But once you provide the open date, it will calculate. So let's say we create another position called Salesforce admin 2 position. The minimum pay is, let's say, 90. The maximum pay is, let's say, 130. Okay, open date for the position is, let's say, 3rd. So what should be the days open, guys? So this position was open on 5/3. So now if I go ahead and save button, there will be a field called days open and it will give you exact value 19. And there is a lock here because this field is, you can't edit this. Okay, this is a formula field. There's no lock appears in here because these are the fields that you can edit. This is a lock because you cannot change the value for this field. It is automatically calculated. Got it, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Now tell me, guys, do you see any issue with this? If I go back here and I create a new position called Java 1 programmer, okay, and then the minimum pay for the position is 100, and then the maximum pay is 150. Okay, open date for the position is, let's say, 1st of April. Okay, status of the position is closed now. Okay, and the position was closed on May 1st. So now tell me, guys, how many days this position was open for?
30 days.
What is it?
30 days.
30 days.
How did you calculate it? 30 days?
Close date minus open date.
So if I do that, will it give me the right answer? If I go ahead and save the days open, what will be the value of days open here?
That will be the current date, not the close date.
So there is something wrong with the formula, right?
Yeah.
Madhu, are you following? I'm sorry. Yeah, Madhu, are you following? I didn't hear you, so that's why I want you to answer.
Yes, I'm following.
Okay.
What if I want to close the date earlier?
Like, what do you like? You can change it here. You can say close the date earlier means what?
No, instead of 5/1,
Huh?
during the application process, I want to close on 4/15 itself.
So you can go back here
Early close.
and you can
No,
say
no, early closing day. Okay.
so you can just change it 4:15.
Okay, got it.
Okay, you can just pick up from the drop down, whatever the value you want to pick, you can pick it up. So if you want to close it, so now this position, the right answer should be 15 minus 1, that should be 14, right? The right answer should be this. But since our formula says the days open is equals to today minus open date, which is going to be 22 minus of this 4. So it'll be more than, it'll calculate the wrong for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit the save button. The days open came out to be 51, but actually it was not 51. It should be 15 minus 1, probably 14 days, right? So we need to edit the formula because this formula does not address this concern, does not have this issue here where if the user has provided close date, then we need to take that close date into consideration and then we should calculate the formula. So there are two scenarios here and you need to always remember to take care of these scenarios when you're creating a formula. So our formula should be if the user has provided the close date, means if the close date is not present, if the close date is present, means there is a value for the close date, then formula should be close date minus the open date, right? If the user has not provided the close date, then the formula should be just today minus open date. Will this formula will address everything? Because if the user has provided close date, then use this formula. If the user has provided if user has not provided the close date, then use this formula to calculate the days open. Okay, days open. So I will create a formula which will take in the consideration of both these scenarios. If the user has provided close date, it will calculate using this. If the user has not provided any close date, then the days open will be calculated using this. So how will I go? I'll go back here and I'll go to my formula that I've created. So we'll go back to the view fields. There is a formula that I created called days open, and I want to edit the formula. So I need to change the formula here. So what will be the new formula? The new formula would be if there is a if else condition here. Okay, so what we need to check here, if the close date is blank or not. We need to see if the close date is blank or not. What do you mean by that? Means if there is a value for the close date or not. Okay, so there is a function available to calculate that, which is called blank. There is a function available called is blank, which will basically calculate is the value is blank or not. Okay, so we'll go back here. I think it's in, okay, is blank, it's in the match. So if you go back here, it says checks whether the expression, what is the expression? So you put an expression inside, checks whether the expression is blank. If it is blank, it will return you true. If it is not blank, it will return you false. Okay, so what is the expression we need to check? We need to find if the close date is blank or not. So first I'm going to go ahead and select this. What will be the expression? I want to calculate if the close date is blank. So here, where is the close date? It's present on the position. So I'm going to go ahead and insert. So first I'm checking if the close date is blank. Okay, if this is blank, if this is the case, what I'm going to do, then execute this part of the code. Okay, so there is an, if I go ahead and if the close date is blank, then it would be today minus open date. So where is today? Today is here. Today minus insert operator open date. Where is the open date? On the position object. So I go back here and I select the open date, comma, else. So this is how this if condition is written. First, this if condition, there is an expression. Okay, there is a comma, then if the expression value came out to be true, then this part of the code will run. If this value, its expression came out to be false, then this part of the code will run. Okay, and what will this? If the close date is not blank, then I will calculate by close date minus the open date. Guys, pay attention to this one and I'll repeat it one more time. So this is my formula. Okay, so my formula says, this is how I've created the formula. I have selected, if you wanted to select if, you can select from here. I remembered it, so I just selected just like that. So I just entered if value here. So I'll just make it a capital if. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, this is how an if condition is written. First thing is if this expression is true, okay, then there is a comma and then true value, when it is true, then this part of the code will run, then there's another comma when it is false. So what it is, if this expression evaluates to true, means if I say is 9 greater than 2, yes, this expression is true, then this part of the code will run. Okay, and if this expression was something like 7 less than 2, which means this is false, so then this part of the code will run, but only one part of the code will run at a time. Okay, both will not run, only one part of the code will run, and which part of the code will run before or after this comma, that will be decided by what is the value of this expression. Okay, so what are we checking here? We are checking, what are we checking for? We are checking for if the close date is blank or not. We are checking the value of this close date. If this came out to be true, if this is blank, then this part of the code will run, means the days opened will be equal to today minus the open date. If this expression came out to be false, then this part of the code will run, which will be equal to close date minus open date. Are you getting it, guys? Are you following?
Yes.
Yes.
Is the formula clear, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and check the syntax. And then there is no errors. I'll go ahead and do a save. You can do a quick save as well. So now in this case, if I go back to my positions and if I click on this Java programmer, right now it is giving you 14. Initially it was 51 because it automatically calculated now using this close date minus the open date. Okay, and if I go back to this one, since there was no close date present, it calculated using the today's minus the open date, which is equals to 22 minus 3, so that is 19. Okay, so this is what it is. This is what the formula is working. So formula is taking care of both the situations where the close date is greater or the if the close date is present or if the close date is not present. Okay, any questions?
Deepika, can you explain me the formula again?
Yeah.
The second part I am confused.
So what the formula is, if you go back here, see there is two things here. The thing is if part and the else part. So there is a formula. If where is my paint? Why does this paint keeps going? Let me get rid of this. Yeah. Okay. So the formula is this one. If is blank, what is the field? Close date. And then there is a comma, and then you said today minus open date, and then there's another comma, and then it says closed minus open date. Okay, so what is this? There are two commas here. So first thing is if it checks for this expression, if this is true, okay, if this evaluates to true, then this part of the code will run. Okay, if this expression came out to be true, then this part of the code will run. There are two, this is called if part and this is called else part. Okay, if this part, if this comes out to be true, the if part will run. If this expression came out to be false, then else part will run. That's it. So what is my else part is saying? Else part is saying if the close date is blank is false, means user has provided a close date, then means this expression came out to be false, then what will happen? This part of the code will run. Okay, close minus open date. And if the user has not entered a value of close date, means this expression came out to be true, then what will happen is this part of the code will run, but this part of the code will run. Okay, so either this will run or this will run depending upon this thing. Got it?
Yes, got it. Thanks.
Okay, so you need to practice more of these formulas, then only you'll get it. Next thing, guys, I have is let me see what is the next topic. Let's say if, tell me guys if something wrong here. Okay, okay, let me just go ahead and do another one. Guys, do you think there's something wrong here?
Max pay is less than the min pay.
What do you think, others? So is this wrong?
Yes, right. Max pay should be more than the min pay.
Okay, what about others? Is anything other than this is wrong?
I don't think so. It's wrong.
You don't think maximum pay should be greater than minimum pay?
No,
Why you said that?
because we didn't define the maximum pay. We didn't compare to the minimum pay.
But ideally it should be less than, right?
It should be, yeah.
So if I go ahead and save this, Lata, do you think it will give me an error?
No.
Won't give an error.
But is this
It
not
won't,
wrong?
because we have, logically it's wrong, but we haven't checked any validation on it, so it's not going to give you any error.
Exactly. You're smart people. So now here, so it will go ahead, and if I go ahead and save this, this is fine. But this is wrong. I don't want, okay guys, this, whenever you open your, turn on these, then that's kind of a lot of noise in my ear. Okay, so now what I have is, this position is right. Okay, I've created a position with the maximum pay grade less than the minimum pay, which should not be allowed, right? I don't want this to happen. Okay, and I don't want this to be saved, because then the calculations will get wrong, right? Because in a real-time scenario, maximum pay will always be greater than the minimum pay, and you want your records to be prevented from saving if somebody is entering a wrong values. So then there comes the concept of validations. Okay, there comes a concept of okay, I'll show you right away. Okay, so in the validation here, so okay, Madhu, hold on to that question. So validation is basically, you wanted to make sure that before you save that record in the Salesforce database, you wanted to see if this is the right value for each of the fields or not. Okay. In the previous example, we were entering a maximum pay which was less than the minimum pay, and we don't want this to happen. We want the Salesforce to throw an error whenever somebody is trying to do something like this. Okay. So how you can do it? You can go back here, and you can go ahead, and there is a quick, you can create a new validation rule here. Okay, either you can go through this one, quick access menu, or you can go back to the setup, you can go back to the particular object. Okay, and then if you select that object, whichever you want to create a validation rule for, you go back here, and there is a place where you enter the validation rule here. So this is the place, so you go ahead and hit the new button. So whichever way you think is easier, you can go ahead and do that. Now, what is the rule name? What is the first thing we'll read this definition? Position validation rule. Define a validation rule by specifying an error condition, okay, and a corresponding error message. So you need to here in this, when you are defining the validation rule, you need to specify not the right scenario, you need to specify the wrong scenario where you want the Salesforce to throw you an error. So what is that condition where you want to throw the error? The condition is the maximum pay. If it is less than the minimum pay, that's when you want to throw the error. So my error condition is minimum pay is greater than the maximum pay. That's what the error condition is. The error condition is written as a Boolean formula expression that returns true or false. So either the expression value would be come out to be true or false. It won't be like return type will not be a number or something. It will be true, or either it will be false. When that expression returns true, then the validation rule error will be thrown. Okay, and the save will be aborted. You will not be able to save that record. That's what you want to prevent. You don't want some junk data to store in the Salesforce, right? You want the correct data to be stored. So when the validation rule comes, if the validation fails, then the record will not be saved and the message will be displayed. Okay, and user can fix that issue and can try again, and it will save if the validation rule needs. Okay, so now the first thing is validation rules comes into picture when you want to validate something. Okay, and you have to code for an error condition, not for a right condition. So here my rule name is, let's say, minimum pay rule. That's the rule name. You have to make it active. Otherwise, even if you have created a validation rule and it is not active, it will not take place. Okay. What is the error condition? The error condition is minimum pay should be less than the maximum pay. That is a good condition. But error condition is maximum pay is less than the minimum pay. So the error condition is, what is the maximum pay present? Maximum pay is present on position object. So I'm going to go ahead and select the maximum pay here. The operator should be, if this is less than, the less than operator is here in the logical. Sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Less than operator, and then we have insert field, and then you go back and select the minimum pay. So if the minimum pay is greater than the maximum pay, or maximum pay is less than minimum pay, this is my error condition. Okay, this is my error condition. Here you have to check the syntax. Everything looks good. if this expression came out to be true, means if the user has entered the maximum pay which is less than minimum pay, what you want to tell him? You want to tell him that, hey, minimum pay, this is the error message. Minimum pay should be less than maximum pay. Okay, this is the error message. Now where you want to display this error message? Do you want to display this error message on the top, or do you want it next to the field? There are two places. If you do that, which field do you want this error to be displayed? Next to the minimum pay or the maximum pay? Or you can define it on the top of the page also. Okay, so these are the two options. So the question can come from here, where you can place the validation error message. Only on the top of the page or over the field also. So you have to remember that you can place it in any of these positions. Okay, go ahead and hit the save button. Now this is the validation rule which is active, which gets the formula for the error is when the maximum pay is less than the minimum pay, that's when the formula, that's what the error formula is. And go ahead and see if this works now. So now last time we were able to save this position where the minimum pay was less than the maximum. So let me go ahead and edit this, okay, and let's just save it now. Now this case, it will go ahead and the validation rule will come into place and it will not validate. So we'll go ahead and hit the save, and this is what the error message is. Minimum pay should be less than the maximum pay. Okay, this is the minimum pay should be less than the maximum pay. Now if you correct this one, if I go ahead and enter 180, then this becomes right, then it will go ahead and save the record, okay, without any error. Now going back to your question, Madhu, if you want like a help tips means if somebody hovers the mouse over there and you want a message to be displayed, you can do that here, new, you can go to the new here, and there is, whenever you, let's say you're creating a text field or anything, you go up here, you select the text field, and here this is the help text, and this help text will display on the detail and edit pages when the user hovers over the info icon next to this field. Okay, so this is the place where, so if I go up here and I select any test field, let's say I named it as test1 field, just to length of the field is, let's say test, text messages, enter your name, okay, and then hit the next, visible to all, next, and then save. Now if you go back to the positions, there is a field got added called as the text. Now if you go to this one, it says enter your name. Okay, so there is the mouse that if you hover your mouse here, this is where you can get it. Okay, so let me get rid of this because we don't want this field. So we'll go up here, we'll just go ahead and delete it. Okay, custom field. Deleting a custom field will delete all the dependent information for any dependent or controlling field. So if this field was a part of dependent, it will go ahead and do it. Okay? Guys, read this whole thing. And you will have 15 days to undelete this field to restore the field. So if let's say you by mistake you have deleted a particular field and you want to undo that operation, you can go ahead and do it in the first 15 days. Okay? Otherwise, it will get permanently deleted. So if I wanted to go ahead, delete this particular field, now this will become a part of the deleted fields. So you will see here, these are the deleted fields. If you click on this, if you want to undelete it, you can delete it. If you want to erase it, it will automatically erase it permanently. Okay, so this is the place the deleted fields will go. If you wanted to move it back, you just hit the undelete button. Got it? Any questions so far?
So Deepika, if we have standard like fields or objects, we cannot delete them, right?
The standard fields especially you will not be able to delete it because those are the means, no.
Okay. Just for the custom.
Yes. So if you try to delete it, we can see if we are able to delete it. You can always, this is a developer edition, you don't have to worry about anything. If you try to delete anything, you can add new fields here. See, there is no delete button. There is a delete button for these fields. These are the custom fields inside of the standard object. You can delete these. Okay, but these are the ones you will not be able to delete. Got it?
Got it.
Okay. Next thing is, so we have created one validation rule. Let's say we have to create another validation rule. Now, tell me if something is wrong here. Now, do you think anything wrong here, guys? Huh?
Close date is missing.
Do you want to have close date? Why?
Yeah.
Why? I didn't hear you.
Because the position is filled and it's closed, the status is closed, so we expect a close date for that so that the position is closed.
What about others? Do you think is there something validation should I add for something?
If the status is closed, then you need a close date.
Very good, very good. This is all, you're doing this for first time? I just want to make sure. Or have you done this before?
No, this is the first time.
Okay, so you're just liking it so much that you're able to answer all the questions?
Just logically thinking.
Okay, so she's right. See, whenever the user has made the position as status is to be closed, you want to make sure that the user should also provide the close date. Otherwise, you want to throw an error. If the status was, let's say, open or new position, you don't need to have a close date. But if the status of the position is closed, filled, or closed, not approved, or closed, cancelled, one of these status, you should have a close date available. Right? You want that because otherwise somebody if in the back end needs this, if you have a status as close date and they wanted to do an operation on what close date or anything, it'll going to get failed because they were expecting a close date and you are not providing the close date. So you want to validate that stuff. Okay. So how you can do those kind of things, you can create a validation rule. So how we will create, we'll go up here, we'll go to the validation and we'll say new of validation rule here. So what will be the rule name? The rule name would be, let's say, close date rule. Okay, so the close status rule. So now what will be the condition here? The condition would be, okay, what is the error condition, guys? Tell me what will be the error condition? When you want the error to be thrown, what should be the reason when you want the error to be thrown?
If we select the closed field, then the date should be the current date.
What is the error condition? Not the right condition. What is the error condition? When you will want the error to be thrown?
If the status is closed
Hmm.
and the close date, then error.
What is the error? Can you repeat it?
When the status is closed,
Yeah.
and there is no date.
Exactly. So condition is if the close date is blank, right? And the status is, let's address all the three scenarios. If the status is closed, cancelled, or closed, not approved, or any of the closed, okay, then the error to be thrown, right? You don't want the error to be thrown if the status is this one. You only want the error to be thrown if the status is this one and the user has not provided the close date. Then only you want the error to be thrown. Okay. So is everyone on the same page? If the close date is blank, okay, if the user has not provided the close date and the status of the position is either closed, not approved, or means this sign, these padded lines, or closed, cancelled, a closed field. If this is the one of the status, if this is one of the status and the user has not provided the close date, then I want to throw the error. Got it? Okay. So now guys, there is a function available to see what is the status value that user has picked. Okay, so let's say there is a pick list called status, and from the pick list the user has selected, there are multiple statuses, right? Closed, open, etc. And you want to see what is the status the user has picked. So there is a function available called isPickVal. Means what is the value of the pick list. So you can remember, like, isPickVal is the function, and what you want to see, let's say I want to see this status field. Okay, so you provide the status field here. Okay, the pick list value for the status field. What is the pick list value? Okay, so this will give you the pick list value of the status field. So if the user has selected from the drop down open, then the pick list value become open. If the user has selected closed, then the pick list value becomes the closed. So this is the function which will give you the pick list value. Okay, what is the current pick list value of the particular field? Okay, so now let's go back and design our validation rule. So this is the closed status rule. Now what is the So what I want to test here, I want to test, the first thing is I wanted to see if the close date is blank or not. That is the first thing I want to check. Okay, so there is a function available, is blank. Okay, and what I wanted to check, I wanted to check the field called close date. So that field is present in the position object. Okay, and means this and. If you scroll down, this is the and, means if both the conditions is true. Okay, that's when you want to throw the error. If this is true and, okay, what is the and condition? If the value of the pick list is, so there is a function available called isPickVal, and I always forget the categories.
Text.
Where is it?
Text. Go to text. Instead of logical, select the text.
Oh yeah, I always, okay. So this one expects you to enter two values, the field and the value that you want to test against. Checks whether the value of a picklist field is equal to the string literal. So this is the string that you wanted to check, and this is the field, and this is the function that will calculate what is the current value of the picklist. Okay, so this, I'm going to go ahead and select this particular function. What is the field I wanted to check, guys? What is the field I wanted to check here?
Status.
Very good. So I wanted to check the status. So where is the status field? In the position object. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to select the status field. So when you want to throw the error, one is if the user has selected one of this. What is the field name? If the user has selected closed field, that's when I want to throw the error, right? This is the first case. Or the second value is, let's go ahead and select the second also. What is the second value? Closed. Let me have a double quotes. Closed, not approved. Okay. And then you have another one, or closed, cancelled. These are the statuses. Is the formula clear, guys? I'm checking. Let me see the syntax. What is it missing? Just see if this is there. This pickval status, you don't need a thing here. And then, okay.
There is another parenthesis.
Where is, oh yeah. Okay. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm checking if the close date is blank. Okay. If this came out to be true, and so there is a big bracket here which basically includes this whole thing. Okay. And okay. Picklist value, if the status value is either closed filled, okay, this is one of the value, or this is equal to close not approved, or it is equal to close cancelled. If one of this is the status, then I want to throw the error. Okay, this is the reason that I want to throw the error. So let me go ahead and put all of this in it. Are you, everyone is able to follow this expression formula?
Yes.
Okay, and if there's an issue, then what is the error message I want to say? Please provide the, please check the status and close date. Okay, this is the error. Now here this time I wanted to provide this error on top of the close date. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the save button. So now this is my validation rule has to be activated. This is the expression, and let's see if this works or not. So if I go back here and if I say my position is Salesforce admin, the status of the position is closed filled, and you have provided the open date, but you have not provided the close date, it should not allow me. And it tells you right away that, okay, please check the status and the close date, and it highlights that close date, and it also does not allow you to save this. Once you provide the value, then that error will go away. Okay. Now if you picked up any other status, let's say from close filled I went to close not approved, okay, and I am not providing the close date. Here also it should give me an error saying the check the status and the date. But if the user has changed it to new position, and then if you go ahead and save that, you don't need to save, you don't need to have a close date because the status is new. Okay, there is no close date. Everyone following?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now there's the next thing we have, guys. Once you are, let's say you have worked on you're working on this app and you've added a couple of objects. Then what you can do is you can log into this particular, just like you have opened your Salesforce on a desktop, you can try going to your browser and open with login.salesforce.com, use your username and password. Okay, and then remember this step. I want you to do it once you have position and candidate fields created. Go to your phone, open the browser, go to login.salesforce.com, give your username and password, everything, and then they will allow you to log in. There will be a 3 hamburger sign on the right. Okay, click on that, and it will open you the list of objects. Okay, and it will also give you a more option. Click on the more options, then it will give you position object. Okay, there will be a position object. Then if you go ahead and click on position new, you will see all the fields that you have created. Okay, and the look and feel will be totally different. It will be mobile friendly. Okay, this is one of the beauty of the Salesforce, that it will automatically will be web responsive, and automatically will see if you're opening it in a browser, the look and feel will be different. If you're opening the app on the Salesforce, then that's going to be a different thing. Okay, so try this exercise when you get a chance. Once you're done adding a couple of fields to the position object, you can do it now also. Okay, so if you want to do it right away, you can do it, or you want to do it later, you can do it as well. Okay, or we can try.
Login.salesforce.com?
Yeah, you go to login.salesforce.com on the phone if you're using Android or iPhone or whatever.
Need to download the app, right?
No, don't download the app. Just go to the browser and you can look in the login.salesforce.com. You can download the app, but you can, without even downloading the app, you can just go to the browser and say login.salesforce.com. Okay, is everyone on the page? Okay, take your time, no worries.
I just logged in and need to go the left side of that on the top, right?
Yeah, you go, there's a hamburger sign, 3 lines, you will see it. Do you see that?
Uh-huh.
Just click on that and then you will see accounts and opportunities, etc., right? Once you click on that hamburger sign.
Okay, let me see. Yes.
Right? Then there is an option of more.
Uh-huh.
Did you click on that one? Then do you see positions?
Yes.
Okay, when you click on, is there a new?
Yeah, new.
Okay. Do you see the fields a little bit different? The look and feels. Try to, huh?
Show list of views.
Come again?
Oh, just a moment.
That's all you had.
Do you see? After this step, okay, if you have not done it, hold on to that page. There's one last topic I want to cover today. It's called page layouts. Okay, now what is this page layout, guys? Page layout means, see, you have right now our, if you go to the positions, this is how the page looks like. Okay, let me make it a little more cleaner. Okay, let's say I wanted to add this minimum and maximum pay in a different section. Okay, and let's say all the dates related I can put in a different section. So you can do that. You can change the look and feel of this page by going to this quick access menu, and there is a place called edit layout. Okay, this edit layout options, you will only see it when you are inside of this new. If you're trying to see the edit layout option here, you will not see that. There's no edit layout option here. You need to go ahead and click on the new, and then only you will see this edit layout option. So click on the edit layout option now. Once you do that, this is how the object will look like. Okay, so this is how these are the different fields that you have added. Now you can move around the fields here and there. You can move the status field on the right side. You can move the job level on the right side. You can drag and drop here. If you want to add a section, let's go ahead and drag the section here. Where do you see this green sign? This is the place where you can drop it. If you see there is a red, you can't drop it here. You can only drop it where you see this green line. So once you do that, it asks you for the name of the section. So here we can say compensation. Then do you want it 1 column or 2 column? 1 column means, do you want only the fields to be added on the left hand side, or do you want the fields to be added on the left as well as right side? You can do that. Tab key order. Tab key order means when you place the tab, should it go to the 1 to 2 or should it go from top to bottom and then 3 to 4? So you can select what tab order should be and then hit the OK button. So now you have added the compensation section here. You can move the minimum pay and the maximum pay under this section. Okay, if you want to create any other section, If you wanted to do, let's say once you have added many fields, you can add a couple more sections here and you can make it a little more cleaner. Right now we have few fields, so I will not be able to add lot of sections, but if you have, let's say this is a section that I've added, and you want to move the days open on the right hand side, you can do that. Once you are done with the changes, don't forget to hit the save button. Once you hit the save button, see, this is how the page looks like now. Do you see this? Okay, now if you have more fields you have added, you can always play around with this. You can add a section here, you can add this is a section. So this looks more cleaner than the previous one. In the previous one, everything was on the same line and everything was together. But here, once you do a tab, it will go from left to right. Okay, so you can go ahead and select what you want to do. Okay, so this is about the page layout section. Any questions on what we did so far? Or are you guys stuck at the same mobile? Are you at the phone right now?
Yes. Deepika, can you go over again on the page layout?
Okay, so the page layout is basically the layout of the page. Okay, so what you have to do is, if you want to arrange this whole thing in a more neater way, you will go to this quick access menu. Okay, and then click on the quick access menu, there is a edit layout. Okay, there is not edit layout here because you are inside a position. You need to go to this new, and then you will see this edit layout page. Go to this edit layout to edit the layout of the page. Okay, now let's go back here, and then you can go ahead and you can delete a particular section. Let's say you minus it off, you delete that section. If you want to go ahead and add if you wanted to add a section, just go ahead and drag it from the top and drop it anywhere on this page where it shows green line. Okay, drop it here. It will ask you for the name, then you can provide whatever name you want for the section. And then if you wanted to make it 2 column, means left and right, then you select this one. If you want it to be left and right or top to bottom, the tab order means once you click the tab where the cursor should go, you can decide the order here and click OK. If you want to move the fields, you can just drag and drop the fields from here, or you can drag and drop the fields here. So the fields which are already there, you will see those are grayed out. But fields which are not on the form, you will see those are highlighted bold. You can go ahead and drag and drop the fields and just hit the save button. Okay, so now you will see the section appear something like this. And the question that can come from this, they might ask you on the page layout, guys, you will be able to, what are the things you can do? So when you click on the ranch button, you can make a field read only or required using this page layout as well. Okay, so right now only position title is required because this is the one with this star here, so red star. If you want to make this open date as required, just click on the ranch, make it required and click OK, hit the save button. Once you do that, this open date is also required. If you try to save a record without providing the open date, it will not let you do that. Okay, and it will complain that you need to enter a value. Okay, so this is called as the page layout. Any questions on the page layout, guys?
Thank you.
Okay, one more thing for today's before we wrap up, because there is a new topic that I want to start, relationship, and I wanted to start the next weekend because I don't want you to have half today and half the next. So there is a small topic here which is called as you can see there are different ways I showed you. One of the way I showed you to add a field was go to the object and then go to new custom field. Then I showed you using a quick access menu. There's a third way you can do even through the schema builder as well. Okay, so what is that? Let's say I go up here, you go to the schema builder, you can add the fields through the schema builder also. So right now these are the list of my fields that I have. Okay, these are the list of the fields that I have. Now let's go back and let me go ahead and add a couple more fields here. So I'll go to the schema builder. You go to the schema builder and then you can select which object do you want the fields to be added. Okay, so here you can select the object. If you want to add a field, let me just clear everything and only have position here. Okay, so you wanted to add fields to this one. So how you can do, you can see objects part and you can see elements here. Okay, there are two tabs, objects and elements. Okay, go to the elements tab. Let's say I wanted to add a field called checkbox. Okay, so let's say for the position, I also wanted to know that does this position needs Java requirement, any programming languages does it need? So what will I do? I'll just go ahead and drag and drop. Okay, now here I will add, let's say, Java. This is the field. Okay, and hit the save button. So unchecked means by default it will be unchecked. Go ahead and hit the save button. So now you have added a field called Java. Let's say you have another field called checkbox again. You can add any type of field. Okay, and let's say C#. If this position requires the knowledge of C#, you can go ahead and click that one and hit the save button. If this field requires, if this position needs a Apex knowledge, okay, there was a currency, so just get rid of this. I was thinking I picked up the checkbox, so let's go ahead and click the checkbox again. This time Apex, hit the save, and then checkbox again, and then you can add, see, you can add the fields faster here. You don't have to answer a lot of questions here. So this is a quick way. There is no preferred way. Whichever you think you're comfortable with, you can use that way of adding fields. Okay, so now I've added this particular field here. This is all the fields that I've added. Now if you go back to the setup and if you go to the positions, now we have added 4 fields, right? 4 checkboxes. Now if you click on new, you don't see those checkboxes. That is a problem when you do with the schema builder. You need to do additional step. The schema builder is faster to add fields, but there is one additional step needed, which is once you have added the fields to the schema builder, you need to go to the edit layout, and then you need to add specifically the fields back to the page. So let's say I will create a separate section below the compensation called a section named required languages. Okay, this is the section I want to create. And under this section, I wanted to add those fields. What are the fields I wanted to add? Java, JavaScript, okay, Apex, and C#. These are the fields that I wanted to add to this section. Okay, so what was the additional step? You are easily able to add any kind of fields you wanted to add through the schema builder as well. But once you do that, you need to just do an additional step where you need to come back here and add those fields on the form. Okay, that is the additional step you need to do. So now if you go back, now you will see that there is an additional section got added called required languages, and you have added those here. Okay, any questions, guys? Anyone, any questions?
No.
Okay.
No, we need to practice actually.
Okay, good. So for the practice purpose, I've already given you the assignment which you have not finished. So 2 of you can do it. For Madhu and the warehouse app that I was talking about, this is here. Or I will send it to you. Okay, if you don't find it, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you after the class. Okay, so you can go ahead and take a look at that warehouse app and try to do the same steps with a different app. So you should have 2 apps going on. One is the recruiting, the other one is the warehouse app. Okay. The next class, what we're going to do is, the assignment also has another object, right? Candidate. On the assignment object, is it only about position, or there is an object called candidate also on that? Can someone double check?
Candidate. Assessment has candidate.
Position and candidate both are there. So
Candidate is there.
Candidate is there, right? So did you create a candidate object as well?
Yes,
Lata?
I did.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So guys, everyone should have at the same pace. Try to create the candidate object and the position object. And then in the next class, we will talk about relationships. Let me just give you a quick overview. why the relationships are needed. So you have created a position object now, which basically have the list of all the positions that are there in your company. Okay, they might be in different statuses. Now we have created a candidate object also because the positions will be applied by these candidates, right? Candidate will come and apply to these positions, right? But if I want to know that which candidate has applied for which position, okay, which candidate has applied for which position, there is no relation here, right? Candidate has its own field, first name, last name, age, etc., etc. Position has its own fields, position title, position, maximum, minimum pay, salary, etc. Right? So they have their own individuality. There's no relationship. So let's say tomorrow I wanted to figure out and I wanted to have a report or something. I want to know how many people applied for a Salesforce developer position. How many candidates applied? Or let me see if there is one candidate can apply for multiple positions, right? There can be, he's a Salesforce developer, he can apply to a Salesforce developer 1 role, Salesforce developer front-end role, he can do multiple positions. So one candidate can apply to multiple positions and one particular position can be applied by multiple candidates. Like all three of you have applied for Salesforce developer position, right? So we need to find out a way where we can have this relationship, okay? So to create a relationship, there is three different kinds of, there are relationship fields Salesforce has given to you. One is called as the lookup relationship, okay? And one is called as the master detail relationship. There are two things, lookup relationship and master detail relationship. Now what is this? Lookup relationship is basically, it's a relationship, okay? And both of them are relationships, but there's a little bit difference between what is lookup and what is master detail, okay? And we will talk about, to know about these two, you need to know who is the parent in a relationship, who is the child in a relationship, and there are some strategies to figure out who is a parent and who is a child, okay? And once we are done with lookup and the master detail relationship, there's another one called many-to-many relationship also. So we'll talk about these three different kind of relationship in our next chapter, in the next class, lookup, master detail, and many-to-many relationships. Okay, and with that, I will wrap up the class today. I think it's early because I don't want to finish this and go to the next one. Okay, try to see the same. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know.
No, is it possible to start the class little early next week? Because I missed a Sunday class, so if possible, can we start like little early instead of 10 o'clock next Saturday, if it is convenient to all?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up this in the class itself. So let us, I'm okay with anything, but you let me know.
Yeah, because I may have to leave by 10 o'clock next Saturday. And
so do you want to, if anyone can get up at 8, that will be better for me also because I have family coming from India. So if you guys can do it on like in the 8 o'clock, if that works for everyone, that'll be perfect. We can wrap it up by 9:30 or 10.
Yeah, that is one option. In case if you are going to take the weekend class like Friday and Saturday instead of Sunday class, that is also fine. But it's up to others also. It's not like
yeah. So guys, let me know if you're comfortable with the timings.
Only for next week.
Amit and Lata.
Yeah, like for the Saturday Sunday, you mean, right? Next Saturday Sunday?
Right.
Okay.
Sunday I won't be here. I will go with the recording class. And Saturday, if possible, I'm requesting to attend around 8 o'clock Central Time.
Saturday, yeah, that's fine. Saturday, I can do it by 8.
Okay.
Okay, how about Lata? Is she here? Lata, will that work for you? 8 o'clock?
Hi. I'm okay with it. It's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
And the following is Deepika on 4th, Saturday.
Come again?
On 4th, June 4th, the Saturday. I have my son's confirmation going on, so I won't be able to attend.
Okay.
So I don't know how, I don't know whether this is feasible to reschedule or if we could do a session, the class, recorded class, whatever, just let me know.
Yeah, okay. So I think we probably have to go through the recorded class. Yeah. If you have any questions in the recorded, then we can talk about it later.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. Okay then. Okay guys, then Hetal is also there, so we'll check with Hetal as well. Raj, can you do that please? And then if they all four agree, then we can do it at 8 o'clock.
Okay, fine.
And
Okay.
most
if I have any question, I can email it to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay then. Okay guys.
So the Saturday class is at around 8 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah. Bhargavi will send you a final email. That's what Raj just texted. So just wait for her to confirm everything because she's going to coordinate with the Hetal and everyone.
Right? That's
Send
fine.
you a
Thank you.
reminder. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank
And
you.
this is CST, right? This is going to be CST.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay then. Okay then, guys. It's going to be CST, Raj.
And
All right.
they
Thank you.
the recording for today as well, right?
What is it?
The recording for today's class, you'll be sending it as well, right?
Yeah, I will send you the recordings. Okay.
Okay.
Okay then. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.